I am running solo today. This is Steve with Head Kick Audio, and I am joined by one Sir Damon the Leech Jackson. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're on your way to the gym right now. What's on today's agenda?
Today's no gi, so we got a lot of jiu-jitsu with striking. So we do ground and pound, but we try not to go too crazy. We do a lot of no gi stuff and a little bit of light strike.
Okay, and where are you at on the mats? Because I was talking to Mr. Austin Lingo a couple days ago, and he was telling me that it's pretty separated over there. You got your AMI section, your pro section, and then like your pro section. Where do you land at, or where do you find yourself the most?
I'll go with whoever wants to grapple. Most of the time, I'm over with the pros, I guess. I'm the gym open. So, yeah, he's definitely one of my training partners on a consistent basis.
Yeah, he's a sick dude. He just got a win a couple nights ago over at LFA 73 in Dallas, which you were actually in attendance for. What was your record for the evening as far as your fighters? You went undefeated, right?
Yeah, well, we were 3-0 that night, and we had he fought in the UFC. He won that next night, and the week before that, we had two people competing. So we stayed pretty busy. The gym's growing all the time. But most of the guys are up and coming. We get amateur fights, and they're about to make some views and stuff like that. So you guys will see some more of our guys next year.
Yeah, Fortis is really like becoming one of the better known gyms out there. You guys are all killers, and the record is pretty impressive. And he was telling me about the coach and how he's very, like, I don't want to say controlling, but he's got a way about directing one's career.
Yeah, you get in the sport, and there's a lot of people that they'll come out and they'll be on your side when you're doing well. A lot of these guys, when they're 4-0 and 5-0, they'll start having managers reach out to them, and the managers have most of the time they have good interest in mind for the fighter, but a lot of times these guys get in too young with someone that they don't know anything about, and they get tough fights too early, or they don't get the right attention, or they don't get a long enough gap in between fights. So since he's really he's our main coach and really the only coach that does our MMA stuff, he knows when people are ready to fight, and he knows how people's bodies are peaking. Like, he knows everything. It's like he has a behind the scenes look, and he knows he'll tell you straight to your face if you're ready to fight or not. And if you're not ready to fight, you're probably not going to fight. And if you do fight, it won't be for the team. So a lot of people don't like that. But I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why we've had so much success this last 2 years, is because really he does control what people do, but he has 100% has the best interest in the fighters. There's been multiple times where he's flying from one state into another time zone, and just to be in everyone's corner. Like, he's going from one fight to another fight, crossing promotions and everything, and he does that just because he doesn't want, like, if he's a guy that's there to practice, so he wants to be there for all the fights, and he definitely spreads himself thin, doing all the work.
Now, do you think that his approach to coaching and kind of like overseeing things in general is probably why the gym has been so successful as of late?
Yeah, he's like, we had a really good relationship with LFA. Whenever they come to Dallas, all of our guys, they do really well with ticket sales, and he would match us up and get everything ready to go for the people that needed. If someone needed a fight, he could get the fight done instantly. So whenever LFA would come here, we had a lot of guys building up from that, and most of those guys are in the UFC now, and it's really all of it's because of him, because he had such a good relationship with with Mick Maynard, and whenever Mick got out of LFA and went on to the UFC, he built a good relationship with Ed and all those guys. So, the team just, everybody busts their ass and works hard, and he definitely is. He doesn't let people slack off. So, a lot of people don't like that. Every practice is pretty intense. So that's why we're having this success, because we've been doing this for, since I've been in Dallas, it's been 7 years, and we've been doing it every day since then. So.
Well, like I said, obviously something's got to be done. He's got to be doing something right over there, because the success rate of the fighters from Fortis MMA is through the roof. It's quite ridiculous, in a good way, obviously, but it's just something that I've kind of wanted to get an insight on from guys that are pretty high up there as far as like where they're at in their careers. So it was kind of cool getting to hear from Lingo's perspective, and then hearing it from your perspective, where you're a little bit farther along in your career, kind of like the veteran, one of the bigger voices on the mat, and it's pretty much the same from both sides of the story. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's talk about you. I love Fortis MMA, but this is the Leech interview. So you're 16-3-1, and I believe there's a no contest in there because a guy was probably doping. So it's a pretty good record, and it seems that you don't go to the scorecards very often. I think you have 2 fights that went to the cards, and one was a draw and one was a unanimous. What do you think has been the main factor in you finishing your fights? Do you just not like going to the judges, or does this just come naturally to you?
Yeah, well, I really was never scared to go to the judges. I never have been scared. I just whenever I'm in practice, I like to finish people. I like to submit everyone that I can, and on the feet, I want to pressure people until they give up the takedown. And that's no secret to my game plan. That's definitely what I'm looking for. I'm looking to get the fight to the ground, because I just feel really comfortable there. And I just look for finishes, because that's like the ultimate win for all competitors, to get that. There's no you can't argue if you say that I got lucky and I took your back and I choked you, and you have 3 or 4 chances to get out of it, and you didn't do the right thing. It's just kind of like the ultimate win. So I like to get submissions. Definitely, love to get that submission. Any finish is good for me. And nowadays, man, I definitely am scared to go to the judges. You never know how it's going to turn out. And we've had some really, really big fights that got blown away. I don't know if you know Stephen Peterson very well, but he just lost a decision down in San Antonio, and it was outrageous. Outrageous, man.
Yeah, I called the fight for Ocho.
Yeah, that's horrible, man. He definitely, he's smashed, dude. I was scared, just killing and pushing him around the whole fight, and yeah. So, but you never know, man, because we've got people even in our hometown that have lost decisions, and it's because the judge, maybe didn't like takedowns or whatever it was. Who knows? But I think something's gotta give with that. There's too many big fights that have been blown by judges. So.
Well, at least we have the fact that you don't go there very often, so you don't have to worry about that all too much. And I'll tell you, when I think everybody really found out about who Damon Jackson was when you fought Leonard Garcia back in Legacy, before they did the merger with RFA and became LFA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that was your breakout performance, and it ultimately got you signed to the big show. Can we talk about that fight for a second? Because, dude, that was absolutely insane. I've never seen anybody handle Leonard Garcia at the time. Leonard Garcia, because now he's a little bit older and he's moved on to other sports. But dude, you mauled him.
Yeah, no, that was really the game plan. Was right when he came in with that, I thought he was going to throw a heavy overhand right, and he threw a jab. And when he threw his jab, it kind of caught me off guard, because all I did was level change, and I was already in on the body lock. And caught me off guard. I wasn't ready for the takedown to happen that quick. That was the game plan. And when we got to the ground, that's my thing. I just like being on the ground. So I like to go to the fight or go to the ground instead of the fight. It's just I enjoy getting that submission day. That was a big win because I was kind of scared to death to fight him. Whenever they told me that they wanted me to fight him, that was the first time that I really ever faced someone where I knew they had more tools than me, and I knew that if I didn't get the fight to the ground, it was going to be a tough fight. So I learned a lot from that too. That whenever I made it to the UFC, I learned that I wasn't as well rounded as I thought I was. So I had to take a step back, but I had a good build up, and I feel good to go now.
Okay, and that kind of brings me into my next question, because right after that fight, it was a dominant win. It was a very nice feather in your cap, and I think a lot of people kind of got woken up to who you were, seeing you just run through somebody like Leonard Garcia, who Leonard Garcia is kind of, he's not the best fighter in the world, but for you to be able to do something like that to somebody like him at the time where he wasn't quite yet past his prime, he was just, I don't know, maybe not sticking to a game plan, just trying to, go for a fight of the nights rather than the win, at least in my own opinion, because there's never a boring fight with Leonard Garcia. But do you think that since you got propelled into the UFC right after that fight, do you think that was a little bit too early in your career to be at that level?
Oh yeah, no man. When I made it to the UFC, I hadn't been fighting for 2 years. I was only been fighting for it was like a year and 8 months or something like that. So I hadn't been fighting for 2 years, and I made it in there. And but I took so many fights right off the bat. I was fighting like every other month. I was taking a fight, and I think that's why I got everyone's attention so quick. That I definitely wasn't ready. There's no way I could have ever turned that down because getting that opportunity to fight there, because who knows, I could have went out there and won one or two fights and still be fighting in the UFC. But at the time, I definitely wasn't ready. But it was something I couldn't turn down. They were like, you get to fight on a pay-per-view card. It's a 9-day notice. You get to fight at 155, so you don't have to go weigh. So it was like there's a lot of pros to it. The only con was the fact that Yankee Madero is like a killer, and no one really knew who he was whenever I fought him. And he's got a long reach. He's a big dude, and he used to fight like I think he's 205 or maybe even heavyweight. He was a big frame dude, like just a big guy. So I definitely looking back at it, it was kind of crazy, but I wouldn't have changed anything. I definitely would have taken the fight again. It just wasn't. I wasn't 100% ready for sure, but I was good. I just wasn't as good as I thought I was. So it's always good.
I gotcha. Now, do you think that, because I mean, your career in the UFC, it was rather quick and it was strange. They cut you when you hadn't had a losing streak. You went what was it, 1-1-1?
Yeah.
And
I think if you look at it from their side, it's like they brought me in at 155, and then whenever they put me down to 145, the division was already overflowing with people. So they put me down at 145, and basically, if you're not winning and the division is already overloaded like that, you can't really expect to stay around. It's not something they want the best fighters in there, and I wasn't winning, so it wasn't it wasn't a shock to me. When I lost that second fight, I was devastated because I knew that the next one was so important. And then they came back and said that he failed his drug test, and I kind of thought that was giving me a little bit of hope. And then I went to Jersey, and I fought LeBron McIntyre there, and I actually 100% think that I won that fight. And it was crazy. Whenever they said they were going to announce who won the fight, and they raised both for hand, I thought that they raised my hand only. I didn't realize they raised his hand too.
Oh,
and
shit.
Then it took me probably a good minute to realize it was a draw. Like, I didn't realize it right off the bat. It took me a little while because my coach was mad, and he was like, kind of freaking out on the ref or on the judges, and I realized what had happened after I was walking out. So I thought I won the fight. It was frustrating.
Oh man, yeah, that's unfortunate, and I think that kind of ties back into what you had alluded to earlier. Is something's got to be done about the way that judges are scoring these fights.
Yeah.
I don't. What would you do? Okay, while we're on the subject, how would you change the way that fights are scored so that these fucked up decisions don't happen so often?
I think that the judges and referees both should have to go through drug testing. Number one.
Oh shit.
Fighters.
Okay.
And then no, I've had multiple fights where I came in and I could tell the referee had been taking something right before the fight. 100%. I've witnessed that, on 4 times that I can remember. 4 times.
Damn.
And one was in the UFC, and then the other ones were in small promotions. So that is number one. I think if a referee's not 100% on point, that's dangerous for the fighters too.
Absolutely.
Just all around dangerous. The judges, I feel like they should have some kind of background in a martial art, because I think that they're looking at it as a fan sometimes. They look at it, they're like, oh, I don't want to see a takedown, that's boring, and then they'll give it to the other guy just because. And I think that's where you see these big splits where you'll have a judge that says it was 30-27, and you'll have another judge that says, 29-28, and then another judge is like, whatever, 30-26 or whatever the lowest score is. Like the scores are just so high and low. And I feel like that they should have some kind of education, like go train or have some kind of background, or maybe like they should take a test and like a trivia question over like, I don't even know, like multiple mixed martial arts or something. I don't know. But I think it's bullshit, because you'll see these guys sitting over there that have no fucking clue what's going on, and they don't appreciate the sport, and they don't know it from all aspects. I think that goes a lot into the way they judge the fight. Like if the guy had a boxing background, he's gonna want to see people standing up. He doesn't want to see them taken down. So you'll get these judges that do boxing and MMA, and it's like they know what they want to see. So they're fans just like everyone else. And that goes back to the referees. I've had so many referees cutting jokes right before the fight, or like kind of doing like some Instagram stuff, or like crazy stuff right before the fight, and you're like, in the rules meeting, and like, it's like game time, and these guys are like cracking jokes and stuff, and it's like, some people are okay with it. I think that you need to be more professional in all aspects. I think that the fighters have came a long way to the sport. I think everyone's really cleaned up the sport as far as like the way they represent themselves. It's not a street fight every time they go out there. Like, not everyone's emotional every single fight. And I think that that's great for the fighters. But I think that judges and referees haven't changed since the sport started. So.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see that. And I've heard fans say they should drug test referees and judges, but I've never heard a fighter say it. So I think this would probably be the first time that I've actually heard it from a fighter's mouth, and not just saying that because they think you were there, you saw them, on something.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it in my own eyes. I've seen people take it, and I know how they act, and I can tell the way these guys are acting. It's just like, it's insane. It's crazy. And they're out there like, pulling these fights like, but maybe the ground pound it looked more intense than what it really was, or whatever. They're tripping off whatever they're doing. It's just crazy, man.
Yeah.
Crazy world. It's a crazy sport, though. You're out there punching each other in the face. So you can't be too choosy and picky over who's out there judging it and stopping the fight when it goes too far. But I would definitely like to see that, at least drug testing. That's it.
Okay, and then throughout all your experiences with all your fights, what ref do you think has like kind of held to your standard as far as reffing is concerned?
You say ref?
Yeah, what ref? Because I mean, there's probably too many judges.
Man, I don't even know. I don't even know who has ref my fights. Like, I mean, it's messed up, because I know they're an important part of it that I never have ever once paid attention. I think Jason Herzog, I remember him repping like some of my Bellator, or he fought like Bellator, he repped my thing, and then some of the LFA stuff, and then I actually had him in the UFC too. That honestly, I can't really tell you why I would think that, but I just remember his name. Besides that, I'm like, I don't remember the referees very much, man.
Okay, well, I guess if they fucked up, it's a good thing you don't remember them.
No, I just remember them out, and I'll tell everybody, like, hey, that's the dude I was telling you about, and I'm horrible with names. So, yeah.
I got you. No, I actually think that Herzog is one of the better referees out there. So the fact that he reffed a couple of yours is probably a good thing. A good thing, because like I said, I think he's one of the better ones out there. So you're 16-3-1-1 overall. You fought for all the major organizations, including the UFC, Bellator, PFL, LFA, and you fought like pretty much the toughest guys out there. Yancy Medeiros, what's the guy that you fought for the LFA title?
Oh, Garcia.
Yeah.
Nate German.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, Aguilar. You fought Miles. Yeah. I mean, you fought a bunch of tough guys.
Oh yeah.
So I want to know what's next.
Well, my next fight is October 11th. I'm fighting for PFL's regular season event. So I'm not in the tournament anymore because I actually had a suspension right after my last fight. And so basically, like the next fight after that fight was 63 days away, and they gave me a 90-day suspension. So it pushed me out of the tournament. Yeah, it sucked, man. I was like, I had a lawyer that was one of my clients, and he like helped me out. We fought it all the way up until the last minute, and then the commission actually they said that if you want to take it to court, we'll go to court. That we're not going to change it. So that was that. So.
Well, that's interesting that there was a 90-day suspension off of one strike. I mean, that's all the fight was.
I know, man.
It was clean. I'm not taking anything away from your opponent, but it was one strike. It wasn't like a 3-round war or anything like that. So that's very interesting that they went with a 90-day suspension as opposed to like a 60-day suspension.
I've been saying that, but I'm not gonna sit here and be a bitch about it and complain. They got rules there for a reason.
True.
And that's why, I respect the commission. I respect the referees. I even respect the judges. They're like, they have those rules there for a reason, and it's because people in the past, everybody thought they were good to go, and then they just magically died. So I went through. I did MRI. I did MRA. I did a CAT scan. I did multiple neurologists. Just checked everything over and like read my reading and everything, and I was good to go. And I had all these people signing off on it, so I thought for sure that they were going to let me fight. And I went through all that trouble to get that done, and they said no, and that was pretty devastating because I thought that I wasn't going to fight until next year, and then PFL. They hit me up and they're like, hey man, we're bringing in a top 2 for the next year tournament. So if you want to fight, we can line you guys up for October 11th. So I'm always down to fight too. So definitely one of my toughest fights coming up.
Okay, well October 11th. So that's going to be in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and we're still with the PFL, so that's good because I was afraid that they were going to cut you off that.
They could have. That's why, they really could. They could have just said, go back to LFA, you douche, whatever. And I was pretty surprised, man. They hit me up, and they really were devastated. Like, right after the fight was over, they were trying to help me out, trying to get me trying to get the commission to overturn it. And the commission was just, absolutely not going to happen.
Oh, wow. So PFL was actually trying to help you with that?
Well, they like guided me. They like told me, they're like, hey, you need to talk to this person. You need to talk to this person.
Okay.
And I'm going through calling people and emailing everybody, and they finally got my lawyer to help me out. And then they started taking me serious. But I only have like 3 weeks left to do everything, so I got everything done in like a week. I got all those appointments done in a week.
Damn.
And they said that basically like they were saying like you know, like you could have just gotten these guys to sign off on it, so you're gonna have to come to New York and test here, and it takes 30 days to get everything back to them. And I was like, well, then I can't fight. And they're like, well, it's not gonna happen. So that's what they were trying to tell me. But, yeah, so they were cool though. But and then PFL, yeah, they went out of their way to make this fight happen, because they could have saved me for next year, and then they don't even have to give me a fight. Like, they don't have to. You know, I didn't win a fight, so they don't have to.
True.
That is in the contract. So.
Well, so that's awesome. So that means that you don't have to stay on the shelf until next year. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, man. I'm very happy with the whole promotion. Like the way that like, because obviously they're paying insanely well, but they are also very hands on. It's like they don't have to worry about all of these guys like you know, acting stupid, because there's only like 12 guys in each weight class, or whatever it is, you know. So it's cool, man. I like the promotion. I like to mix it up too. The only thing I don't like about it is the elbow rule. I feel like you should be able to throw elbows all season except for on playoff night. And, you know, so hopefully they'll change that next year. So I don't know if they're going to or not. But everything else, man, this freaking insane, awesome promotion, and I couldn't be more happy with them.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool that PFL's treating you very well, because as a fan and a quote-unquote media member, you know, because I'm a fan first, but it's you want to see the fighters being taken care of, and sometimes you hear that some promotions don't really like keep their end of, you know, whatever conversations had taken place beforehand, or, you know, they just cut you for nothing. They don't like you. They don't like the way your last fight went, or, you know, whatever. So that's actually pretty cool that they're taking care of you. I'm glad that they're not keeping you on the shelf, because, I mean, your record and your finishing rate both are tremendous. So for me as the fan, like, I want to see you fight. You know, I want to see you go out there and put on a performance. So what can you tell me about your opponent for October 11th?
He's definitely, I would say, the best striker that I've ever fought. So, you know, I don't know if they're letting me release his name yet or not, but he has fought some really high-level fights, and he's a really good striker. So it's definitely going to be a tough fight on the feet. And, you know, it's just, there's different, his techniques are different on the feet than anyone else I face. So I'm having to travel a little bit more than I normally do for my sparring and for my pad work and all that stuff, because I need to get different looks from, you know, certain specialists. So I'm like, you know, I'm excited, because it's like, you know, I'm getting to come off that big loss and fight someone that's even like at a higher level than my last opponent, even though I lost. You know, it's like I'm getting a bounce back into a legit matchup. So I was happy, man. I thought I was going to have to go back to LFA and fight some local guys around here, or like even just some Texas guys again. And I was pretty devastated, because I wanted to continue to move up with PFL and, you know, with whatever else I do. So this is definitely a step in the right direction, just this matchup. So.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I'm excited, and dude, don't sell yourself short, man. Your striking has like made leaps and bounds since, you know, your LFA days.
I mean, I've been putting the work in. I know it's so cliche to say that, but like, I really have been putting work in on my boxing, you know, mainly my boxing. But now I'm mixing it up with Muay Thai and boxing, and so I've definitely seen some big improvement, like as far as like sparring rounds and stuff like that, and that happens in camp. You know, I feel really comfortable with whoever I go with. So I don't always take the fight to the ground. Like some days I'll go like 3 or 4 rounds, and I don't even go for a takedown. And I've never done that. You know, in the past, I've always taken, even in practice, I take everyone down, and I try not to take any damage. So.
Well, like I said, I mean, your striking is definitely improving. I can see a considerable difference. now you're starting to piece guys up on the feet as to before. The fights start on the feet, and you set up your takedowns well, but now you don't necessarily have to set up your takedowns. You can, stand in the pocket and bang, which, it only makes your fighting that much more exciting, dude.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad some people see it. I've had a couple people say that, but I haven't really thought about it just because, I do get submissions still a lot.
Yeah.
I like to go for submissions, man. It's a good feeling for me.
Okay, and this next fight is at featherweight or lightweight?
Yeah, it's going to be at featherweight. Maybe I could talk them into letting us go up to lightweight. But, I don't know if that'll mess us up for next year. So it would just be nice to not cut freaking, 25 pounds. It's a killer. That's the worst thing about this freaking sport is the fact that everyone cuts weight. If everybody would just, fight their, somewhat natural weight, it would be so much better. But you can't pass up on that reach advantage. If you could cut down to, for me, cut down featherweight, and I have a 72-inch reach, that's a pretty good reach on most guys. And, for if I was at lightweight, I would be, below average, probably,
Well, yeah, some of those, you're 5'11", right? So,
yeah.
That's not a tiny featherweight, and really, it's not that small of a lightweight either. But guys at lightweight are usually coming down from 200 plus.
Yeah, man.
A lot bigger guys.
Carlos Diego. Fights in the UFC. Yeah, so he's changed at our camp for all the fights and everything, and he'll come into the gym right before his training camp starts, and he'll be walking about 195 to 200, and he'll because we have split practice where we do lightweights come in at this time and heavier guys come in at this time, and he'll come in with the lightweights, but I'm like, dude, get out of here. You got 45 pounds on me, bro. Get out of here. It's funny. Because I walk around, I could cut weight almost at any point. I'm walking around about 65, and he's definitely about 35 pounds over all the time. I'm like, dude, that's too much. Crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. So I got one more question for you before I let you go. And I've been seeing you doing a lot of corner work, and I know that's because of the suspension, and we weren't sure what was going to happen before we got the fight on October 11th. But like I said, I've been seeing you do a lot of corner work. So my question for you is, where do you see yourself after your fighting career is over?
I don't know, man. I go, I've had a lot of my clients, they have, different businesses, and they've asked me to do, things with them and, open up a jiu-jitsu gym and do whatever. And, it would be cool to do that, but, I do have 4 daughters, so I have a big family, and, that's why you gotta respect my coach so much is that, he busts his ass, he travels all around the world, and he does all this shit, and fighters don't get paid shit, so his 10-15% is nothing once you add in all the bullshit that comes with it. So I have to put my family first. There's nothing more, I love coaching, wrestling is my biggest thing. I love coaching wrestling, but with these guys, these young kids that I've trained with them since they were 0-0 or maybe 2-0 or something, they came to the gym. It's really cool to see them up and coming. Austin Lingo, you talked about him earlier. Whenever he first came in, that kid was the shittiest wrestler, and he had horrible cardio. And now he's been busting his ass with cardio. He's been doing strength training 3 or 4 days a week. He's at every practice. He's got a really good attitude now, and it's cool to see people progress like that and to be a part of it. Because I have been around the team since it was really up and bumping, So it's cool to see everyone. Michael John, Hillman. Actually, his little brother just fought the same night as Lingo.
Yeah.
DJ, did you see him? Yeah.
Yeah. I did.
You got two kids right there that I've done. I've done private lessons with them. I've done extra work after practice, or I've done whatever just to help them, whatever way they can to get ready for the fight. Because it's so cool to see people take something you show them and actually do it. So I could definitely see myself coaching, but I got to make sure financially it makes sense. You know, and right off the bat, it's not the best thing to do. So I'll have to build up as I go. You know.
Well, let's see. Win the tournament next year, and then retire and coach, and you're set, right?
Yeah, something like that. That was the game plan this year, and I got fucking dropped with the knee in 10 seconds. So, you know, this sport, it's messed up, man. This is not this is a real life. It's a real deal. So, you know, hopefully things go a little different next year. But, you know, I'm just focused on this next fight and going from there.
And how long do you think, sorry, I'm going to sneak one more in here. How much longer do you see yourself competing?
Shit, man, I'll do it until my wife is my wife's like really cool about everything. Like she knows me well, and like we've been together for 12 years, 13 years. So you know, she knows she knows like what I want in life, and she knows like where I'm at. So she's not gonna lie to me. If I were to ask her anything about my career, she would tell me straight up. You know, she's like after I've either won or lost, she's like the only person that will either like make my day or piss me off, because like whatever if she had thought the fight was wasn't good, or if she thought that I didn't do something right, she'll let me know like straight up. And I respect her a lot, because she's been around me since when I was fighting in bowling alleys and all this crazy stuff in Missouri. Yeah, so I respect her opinion just as much as theirs. So it's pretty cool.
Yes, it sounds like you got a pretty straightforward team around you, where if you ain't got it no more, they're gonna let you know.
Yeah, I think and I give a lot of people shit in practice, so I think if I start slipping up, the people are gonna let me know.
Okay, well, dude, I want to thank you for your time. This has been awesome. I've had a lot of fun. I know that we were, kind of trying to get this done during or around 73, but you had a lot of guys on the card. But they all did well. You had mentioned Elijah, and we were talking about Lingo. I think you had like maybe 51 seconds between both of those fights, so that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was pretty intense, man. It was a really good night for our team, for sure.
Hell yeah, man. I bet you the morale is really, really high. And then you've got the fight on October 11th. As soon as they release the opponent, I would love to hear about him and see what you got coming up against yourself. And I'm going to go ahead and give you, as long as you want, to go ahead and shout out training partners, sponsors, family, whatever you want. Take as long as you want. The floor is yours, my friend.
Nah, man, I'll keep it short, man. Just shout out to Fortis MMA, and say it, for my coach and the gym, and then, all my sponsors. You can check those out on social media. That's about it. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, dude, seriously, thank you for the time. Let's do this again. Maybe preview your fight in October.
For sure, man. Sounds good.
All right, sounds good, man. Well, we'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right.
All right, later, man.
Bye.